Woody Wommack, joined by Mid-Atlantic recruiting analyst Rivals Friedman, also known as the officer around these parts, and he's laying down the law. Friedman, the number one story in maybe all of recruiting today, Rakim Jarrett, didn't think he was going to even sign. Now he flips to Maryland from LSU. Huge gift for the Terps, and just stunning given the way LSU's offense had looked this year and where the wide receivers were succeeding.
Yeah, really, really shocking. He took this last official visit to Maryland. I think it was last weekend, and he enjoyed himself. Him and Coach Loxley there, Michael Loxley, they have a great relationship. They talk all the time, and he saw what Loxley was able to do with Stephon Diggs at Maryland. That's always been part of the pitch to come to Maryland. But everybody kind of thought that Alabama was going to end up getting Rakim Jarrett. They all thought that the opportunity to be a successful receiver in that offense and the attitude within that program really fit with Jarrett's mentality a little bit more. But it turns out that relationship with Loxley was strong enough to get him to flip there. A bit unusual to see a kid from St. John's College High sign in the early period. Usually all those guys sign in February, but it turns out this year, they've finally been allowed to sign and announce their commitment in the early signing period. So a great job by Loxley, who is the DMV recruiting expert.
I know Rob Cassidy was really worried about if they were going to be allowed to sign or not. So I'm glad that was done. So he did send it in. Maryland has announced him.
He's going to send it in. As of right now, he has not sent it in yet. He tweeted at me a minute ago saying he was waiting on his mom to finish up the paperwork and send it in. And I think he said something along the lines of, "You don't rush mom." So, we're going to take him at his word there.
Another LSU-related story, Damion Clowney, of course, famous last name related to Damion Clowney. He ends up decommitting today. He's not going to sign. Maybe, was told to kind of look around. What's the latest with him?
Yeah, Clowney, this story started to leak out last week. Ed Orgeron and a couple of LSU staff members were in the area recruiting and checking in on their commitments. They went and saw Jordan Tolles, but it appears that Ed Orgeron wasn't even allowed in the building at St. Francis. They didn't even allow him to come in because they knew they were dropping Damion Clowney. They hadn't heard from him in such a long time. And they just didn't allow him in. They were so mad that this happened so late in the process here that they just didn't allow him to come in. But now Clowney is starting to look around. He did take a quick official visit. I believe it was an official visit to UCF down in Florida. That's where his guardians live. He flew down there. Yeah, I know you'd be happy about that, Woody. And he was regrouping with his guardians down there, and they took that quick trip. And now he's going to start looking at teams like Tennessee, Virginia. Pittsburgh is in the mix. But with this Rakim Jarrett news, that kind of, that sends a ripple effect throughout the DMV area. And I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland starts gaining some momentum with Damion Clowney. We could see some movement quickly, I would think, with Clowney. And we'll just have to see how things turn out there.
Boy, if I would have known he was in town, I would have had him over to the restaurant for the old Woody platter at the townhouse. He might have had to come back home.
Hey, he would have put on those pounds he needed to get field ready.
That's right. We're talking like 2,500 calories in one sitting. So, all right. Last but not least, Michigan. They were scrambling to find a quarterback after their quarterback commit had some health issues that caused him to retire. Tell us about the guy they ended up going out and getting. Very, very under the radar. What did they end up doing?
Yeah, so it's not official yet. He has not actually signed the paperwork and sent it in just yet, but it looks like they're going to sign quarterback Dan Valari out of Massapequa, New York, out of Long Island there. It's Plain Edge High School. He's about 6'3", 6'4", 215 pounds, more of a dual threat guy. He threw for about 1,200 yards or so this year, but he ran for about 1,500 yards. So they do a lot of RPO stuff there. I know, Woody, you're a big fan of the RPOs. Yeah. And I think he scored about 30 or so total touchdowns this year. So this is a great athlete they're getting at quarterback. And if it doesn't necessarily work out for him throwing the ball, he could certainly see him at another position, maybe tight end or linebacker. He is a physical, strong kid. He doesn't have a bad throwing motion right now, but this is a quality athlete that they're getting. It remains to be seen what they do with him at the quarterback position. But Michigan isn't necessarily hurting for quarterbacks at the moment. They've got some pretty good depth already on the roster there.
Yeah, we saw him turn four-star quarterback Zach Gentry into a tight end and an NFL player a few years ago. So, all right, Adam, well, thanks a lot for joining us. You can follow Adam on Twitter at Rivals Friedman. Stay locked into Rivals.com. We have more and more coverage throughout the day. Mike and I are in here for like 5 or 6 more hours. So we got lots of interviews coming, so stay locked into Rivals.com.